All right, thank you for staying with the Kenya's Choice 2022 right here on Citizen TV. The conversation begins right now. I'll take a pulse from the members of parliament-elect to find out from them how the grueling campaign has been and what can be improved before we get into the power play in the Houses of Parliament today. As they said, they're calling it the last fight on the Daily Nation here. The National Assembly is pitting Moses Wetangula against Kenneth Marende. In the Senate, there's Kalonzo Musyoka, Amason Kingi. The numbers are in between here and there. 179 for Kenya Kwanza. Tally including 9 MPs from UDM, UPIA and MDG. Some people are saying that they shouldn't have moved yet. We'll find out from the legislators as well. And Azimio's 158 and how that will play out in terms vis-a-vis the representation of the people. Let me introduce my guest one more time. Honorable John Kagusha is here, Member of Parliament-elect from Mukurweini. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you.
And Honorable Elijah Njoroge, Member of Parliament-elect for Gatundu North, is also here. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much.
And Honorable Innocent Mugabe, Member of Parliament-elect for Likuyani. They're just moments away from becoming the official members of Parliament after the swearing in that's going to happen in Parliament. But Kagusha, let me start with you. Before we get into the power play of Parliament, after the grueling campaign, everything has settled, and now you're members of Parliament, you're going to be officially sworn in as members of Parliament. In hindsight, what can be made better in our electioneering process?
Well, one of the things, and let me first of all say good morning to our viewers, and I want to extend my warm regards also to the people of Mukurweini this morning. One of the things we need to do is we have a change of our election regulations and our election laws too close to the general election. That is one of the things that makes our election a little bit unpredictable. If you look at some of the challenges that IBC had in terms of printing materials and also in terms of preparation for the general election, it had to do with delay in change of the regulation. Partly, some of it caused by IBC themselves, because they also proposed changes to the law, particularly on the things that had been proposed by Supreme Court in the last election period. And then the other delay comes from the executive. Yeah, sometimes you find that the Attorney General's office or the other executive offices that are supposed to deal with the changes in the laws, they don't propose these laws to the Parliament in good time. And of course, the other challenge would come to in Parliament, where there is the delay in enactment of those regulations and the laws. So that is one of the areas where we need to change. The other thing is, unlike probably many other times, this time we have had too much of fake news. There has been a lot of misinformation, and unfortunately this time around the misinformation has not only gone through the social media, it also permeated in the mainstream media, unfortunately, and that misinformation sometimes was very misleading to Kenyans. And I think on that we need to put our best foot forward in terms of being a little bit more professional when it comes to reporting, and also when it comes to what is given to the public. Because some of the people have made or even made decisions or may have acted based on wrong information. And so I find that to have been a major setback in our electioneering period this time around, particularly because of permeation of these misinformation through the mainstream media. And when I say this, I don't mean only one media house. I mean like most of the media houses sometimes would give information which is not verified. Most of the journalists this time around may not have gone out of their way to question certain positions and even certain information that was presented to them. Some of them just, broadcasted information that may not have been correct. So those are some of the things that we have had as a bit problematic. The other thing which I also found to be a bit of a challenge is where the law accommodated too much of negotiations other than the serious democratic process of nominating candidates. So this time around, of course, and some of us may have been beneficiaries of the same, but that does not mean that is the right thing to do. We need to allow those people who may be interested to run for office to go and fight it out there in the public, and let the public decide. Let the public make their own choices in terms of who is going to be nominated or who is going to get the party ticket. But this time around, you realize that party tickets were either hawked or bargained for, or sometimes even forced on candidates. And many people who were good candidates did not see the light of day because the party bigwigs, the party barons decided who was to run for what office. That is not good for a democracy. In future, we need to tone down that approach. It may have been seen like it has reduced the messiness and the noisy and messy affair of a nomination process, but it is not good for a democracy. Let the people themselves decide who they want to be handed the party ticket, rather than the party bigwigs deciding who is going to run on their ticket. And that is going to grow our democracy. Is also going to ensure that even those people who may not have a big name or big monies get the opportunity. And of course, in UDA party, we had a better opportunity of getting closer to that process of nominations. Not that we did the best, but maybe we had a better attempt at that. Some of the other political parties, like Jubilee Party, they completely shelved the idea of nomination process, which to me may have closed out some of the very nice candidates who would have competed with other candidates on the ground in a more profound manner and in a more competent manner. So those are some of the areas which I think we need to look at as we move forward in our political process.
All right, Mugabe, what can be made better?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say a very good morning to all our viewers. And again, say a big thank you to the people of Likuyani constituency for believing in me and giving me the mandate to represent them in the 13th Parliament. If I may just speak on what my colleague has said here, on the issues of party nominations, I would really like to applaud my party, Orange Democratic Movement, for the angle that they took in this election period on nominations. They used science, and I would want also to encourage other parties to follow that. Of course, we did not get it right maybe at all levels, but use of objective scientific data can help parties to pick the right candidates without making all the candidates to go through the gruesome process of nomination, using resources and all that, and knowing clearly that this person may not make it. For example, if a poll is done objectively and one candidate is hitting 50, another one is hitting 4-5%, why should you subject that person of 4-5% to nomination while it is very clear that they will not make it? And this should actually be even be a wake-up call to many other people in the coming in future elections, that we should trust and believe in science. Only that sometimes the people we entrust to do such scientific research become subjective, which is wrong. Yeah. But if we truly
opinion polls, almost all of them got it wrong.
If we truly embrace science and use it objectively, then we can save a lot of people resources. We can also save a lot of people the aftermath of losing an election. Another pointer that would want, and something that I would want to bring into the 13th Parliament, is this issue of especially civil servants having to resign way early, 6 months before election. You find that this one sometimes denies the country or denies the people to have good representatives, because one is of course the fear of if I lose the election, then where where will I go? Because I cannot maybe go back to my job. I have to resign. So you find people with good experience, people who would represent their constituencies very well, actually fear getting into election because of that. And you see, like for example, a member of parliament, they'll still be earning their salaries, they'll still be in office. They have undue advantage over such a person. So we need to come up with some mechanism to allow, especially civil servants, the opportunity maybe to go back to their jobs if they lose an election. And with this, I promise you that we will have so many experience and expertise coming into the political arena. Okay. That's why you'll find that now the political arena is filled up with people maybe who have money, who do not fear any losses after election. Yeah. But now people with the tangible knowledge, with the experience, with the expertise that would help the society and the country at large are denied that chance, because most of them are actually in the civil service. All right. Yeah, I'll come to other issues if you allow me to go on. Again, is the issue of cost of election. The cost of election in Kenya is very expensive, and a lot of burden is actually left to the candidate. For example, the issue of agents. A basic example, in my constituency, I have 135 stations. 135, I need like a minimum of 270 agents who would want to be paid maybe a minimum of 3,000. You need to transport them, you need to give them food and all that. And you know, this is just a person that is supposed to be in there to guard your votes and the likes. Personally, I would wish, as we look into the election laws and all and regulations, to have a scenario where these costs can be taken care of by the government or IBC for that matter. Or
alternatively, just trust IBC.
Ideally yes. But I would the best situation would be, as a candidate, I nominate my agents, then IBC pays them. But the agents are mine. Of course, there's a lot of trust issues just believing and trusting on IBC alone. Maybe we are not yet there. Slowly by slowly, we might get there at some day. Okay. And you hear a lot of issues concerning maybe agents are being bought, or maybe some candidates fail to have agents in certain areas and all that. It is a very expensive affair, and that's limiting actually people who may be very good leaders or legislators to venture into this arena of politics.
All right. Njoroge, what can we improve in hindsight?
Thank you very much. My name is Elijah Njoroge, the only independent member of parliament in Kiambu County and also in Central Region, and the immediate former MC of Ruiru Town. And I want to first bring greetings from people of Watondo North, and they are friends of Citizen TV. It's my first time to be here, and I'm happy. I am a product of boardroom decisions in political parties, and I'm in 12-member independent members of parliament caucus in parliament now. But I want to applaud the Constitution because we have a chance to run and compete in elections independently, with our own symbols and with our own thinking. And I want to say that joining what my friend Honorable Kagushi has said, boardroom decisions can victimize people and will make potential leaders to be lost and also not to get a chance to participate in elections. I am a victim of Jubilee Party. I was in Jubilee Party. They denied me the ticket, and I wanted to run for MP Ruiru. And when I was denied the ticket, I shifted to Watondo North. And I would want to encourage people, when you are denied tickets, you can vie independently and win. And that is why I am here today. I would want us to improve on ratings, the parameters used by boardroom party leaders and the party decision makers, they should be improved because in this election they were proved to be wrong. In Jubilee Party, for example, personally, I was rated number 3 in all the opinion polls. But when it came to the real election, I won. And I know it has happened to very many people who, like me, their potential, they could have won the election, but they were rigged out. Again, I say that as a member of the caucus, we are thinking independently. In all the issues in parliament, we are thinking independently because we are sponsored by our people and not by any party in the Republic of Kenya. And from today, being the first day in parliament, we have decided in our caucus to be doing our things independently, but to be friendly to any coalition, that is going with the will of our people. For example, for my case, Gatuno North voted for Kenya Kwanza, so that makes my basis of being a friendly member of parliament to Kenya Kwanza and their decisions. So I would want to say that we need to improve our ratings when we are rating people to run for office.
That's an interesting perspective, Njoroge, because then you're not as independent as you are elected.
Yes.
Because you're saying now that you're going to rely on the decisions of Kenya Kwanza.
What's happening, when you hear that I am an independent member of parliament, we do not have, for example, an independent speaker running for office. Okay. So, and will be governed, and our leader will be one of the speakers fronted by any of the coalitions. Okay. So we must, because we don't have numbers and we don't have a candidate, we must support one of them. So we will support them as friends, but not.
But why not the Azimio side? Because if you're independent, it means then you can make your own decision.
I'll say, like in my case, my people voted for Kenya Kwanza, and to be specific, William Ruto and Honorable Gachagua. So we need, I need personally to go with the will of my people so that I don't go independently again. I'm independent with my people who voted for me.
Will you then be relinquishing this independent tag and just join Kenya Kwanza?
Yes, there are some circumstances where I don't need to consult with the coalitions or the parties. For example, if it's a bill, if it's affecting my people, I'm going to think independently, regardless of the friendship that we may have formed with the coalitions. Yeah. But we are open to work with any of the coalitions, provided what is being discussed and provided the topic is touching our people, because that is our mandate in this house.
There are those who keep saying that the independent candidates like yourselves have been lured to Kenya Kwanza by maybe being given tokens.
Yes.
Is that true?
It is not true that we have received tokens, but we have been lured to Kenya Kwanza, and I want to appreciate them because they are very aggressive. They were very fast to look for us. Actually, the first day after William Ruto was sworn in, was declared president-elect, he looked for us the following day.
Himself
in person. He called me in person. And I don't think I've ever heard the voice of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga on phone looking for me. So we were lured by Kenya Kwanza. And that's why we are friendly, because we have had several discussions and we are open to more discussions in future.
What did he tell you when he called you?
He told me that now that we fought during campaigns, and it's true we fought, because when you hear you are independent, I was fighting Jubilee in Gatuno North and I was fighting UDA. Jubilee became number 2, UDA became number 3. So we were rivals before the declaration of the results. But now he told me he would want me to work with him and to express my will, and we become friends, and we became friends. The issue of independence means that it is true we are going to remain friends with him and his administration, if he's going to work with, if he's going to be our friend and a friend of Gatuno North.
So if this call came from the other side, would you have also been friends with them?
I would have considered any call, and I would meet both of them and gauge who has a better offer. if you have more roads from this side than this other side, I'm going to go for the best offer.
What does better offer mean?
Better offer.
They're not okay.
I want to mean that I cannot support any coalition for free, and I don't mean economic gain personally. I mean delivering my promises to the people. For example, I've never been a leader in Gatono North. So when they voted for me, and they voted for me as a youth, the first youth in Gatono North, they expect change. So if change is going to come from this side, I'll go to that side. But for now, I have already negotiated with Kenya Kwanza, and they promised me several developments that I want done in Gatono North.
So they were tokens.
It is a token of development.
Okay.
You can allow me to
but this is the most honest conversation.
Just to point out on what he has been promised on development, is the biggest problem we have in this country. Skewed development, unbalanced development, where now, especially the executive, that the winner takes it all, decides where development will go. For him, he's already negotiated. Maybe he will get roads and all that. Then what happens to Likuyani that I am in the opposition? And these are Kenyans. They also need the same services. And unless we move out of this and create one Kenya where we have balanced development, regardless of the political alignment, we'll still be fighting very hard for this, especially the presidency and the executive. Because what happens is that everybody knows that if this coalition wins, then the biggest beneficiaries will be for those people in that particular coalition, and of course they will use that development bait to make people go against the principles, especially of democracy. His people elected him on independent. They expect him to have a very independent mind and not just being baited for political support.
But his people also elected him for representation of certain legislation, so he has to ensure that their needs are taken care of.
But I think just speaking from Innocent, Honorable Innocent here, I think just need to be real and practical. His boss in the last election, when he lost the presidential election, had a handshake with His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, and what he sold out there to his constituents, including himself, was that he's doing this handshake for the benefit of his region and for his people and for development. When I listen to Honorable Njoroge here, we call him Kororia. In that area, I don't know whether that name is. I don't know whether that name is now in the. It's gazetted.
I think
it is actually gazetted.
Now my name. It means excessive.
It means excessive.
If you take 2 spoons of sugar, you now take 5.
So that's Kororia.
That's Kororia.
So, what I listen and what I hear from him is like they had a handshake with His Excellency William Ruto. And I think give it to him. His Excellency, the President-elect, William Ruto, is a very astute politician. And he's very unassuming. He takes things head on. And that probably can explain why he was able to win this election. And the other team, which may have assumed a lot of things, may not have been able to get through to that level. But I don't think there's any challenge or there's any problem with any member of parliament representing and negotiating for his people. Even Honorable Innocent Mugabe here, if you would wish to be Kenya Kwanza leaning for the benefit of the people of Likuyani, I mean, it's open. You can, for example, today you can vote with us. You know, and you see that will basically allow you to be government leaning and what to be very practical. Every member of parliament who is elected on an independent ticket also finds themselves in a tricky position because when it comes to how committees are distributed, if political parties will first of all consider their members. But now you see, as an independent member of the assembly or the National Assembly or even the county assembly, what you need to do is to very fast look at the tilt of the power, the balance of power, or the power balance, so that you can be able to move where the power goes. And of course now, once you are where the power is, you will now benefit from many things. For example, when it comes to allocation of committees now, the honorable members who are independent will probably also now benefit as much as Kenya Kwanza leaning MPs will benefit. And you see, so those are some of the very quick and direct benefits. And you see, that is not tokenism. That is real power, and also real meaningful power to the member of the National Assembly to help them deliver to their people. So they do not even have to get even a promise of a road. But if you're put in a roads committee, then of course you see now, you are able now to wriggle your way out and to ensure that your people benefit. Yeah, but maybe as we continue that discussion, there's something I may have missed out when I was putting out the issues that we need to improve on in future. And in this election, unlike many other elections, we have had too much of excessive use of government agencies, government power, raw power on politicians who are not leaning towards the government side or towards the side that the president wanted us to lean on. And that is wrong. And we need to stop use of government excessive power and, of course, government resources. We saw many cabinet ministers and even government officials, including the provincial administration, who are engaged directly in campaigns, in financing, in resourcing, in mobilizing, and that may have tilted the balance towards the candidates who are government-leaning at that time. And that is truly an area where we need to improve, including our government. When we are doing 2027 elections, and His Excellency William Samoei Ruto has clearly said that the public service must remain to serve the public, and the politicians must now do the politics, and not the vice versa. Yeah, so really, I think that's also another point that we need to look at.
I have to take a quick break, but I know you need to respond. But let me take a quick commercial break, then I'll come back, because now also Kagushi has posed the issue of how you're going to vote. I will not ask you who you will vote for, because that's a secret ballot.
Yes.
But I'd like to know how you're going to differentiate between meritocracy, party positions.
Yes.
That coming up right after the break. And also you can send in your tweets at Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Kenya's Choice 2022. We'll also be crossing over to Parliament just moments away from the swearing in of the members of Parliament elect and the senators elect. And then right there and then, they get down to the business of choosing their leaders, specifically the Speaker of both the National Assembly and the Senate. The National Assembly is pitting Moses Wetangula and Kenneth Marende, and Senate is pitting Kalonzo Musyoka and Amason Kingi and the deputies as well. That coming up in just a bit, but stay with us.